All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are working on lessons 35 and 36, and we're going to be working on how we multiply fractions using the associative property. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to make 4 copies of 3 centimeters. So write me a multiplication sentence where it's 4 copies of 3 centimeters. Pause while you do this. Hopefully you have 4 copies of 3 centimeters, which gave you 12 centimeters. 4 groups of 3 centimeters. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually break it down like this. We're going to break down and take away the centimeter part and just look at these 2 numbers. What's 4 times 3? Well, you should have said 12. Then we can add our centimeters in. So it's 12 centimeters. So if you use those parentheses to break a piece off, it makes it a little bit easier to multiply. All right, let's do something a little bit more complicated. Let's make 4 copies of 3/5 and do it in unit form. So there should be a word in there. 4 copies of 3/5. Pause. Since I said unit form, you should have had 3/5 like this, not 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, because I said word. So what I did is I have 4 copies of 3/5. If I were to break off this component and just say 4 times 3, I would get 12 fifths. 12 fifths. Now if I did it this way, if I did 4 times 3/5, would it still equal 12 fifths? The answer is yes. So both of those are exactly the same. I'd like you to go ahead and write this down, and then I want you to notice that it's the same exact thing that we did up here, except for I wrote it in fraction form. So what this would look like is we could do it a couple different ways. We can write this out like this: 4 times 3 times 1/5, because I have 3/5, or 3 times 1/5, which also gives me 3/5. If I do that, I now have 4 times 3/5, just like I had here. I can break it up again, and I can say 4 times 3 is my parentheses times 1/5. I just move my parentheses over. 4 times 3 is 12. Times 1/5, they all still equal 12 fifths. I could do it any way to come up with the same exact answer. Go ahead and get that down. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go ahead and write this out, and I want you to multiply it out 2 different ways. Use this method where you break down the 3/4, and then break it down again, switching your parentheses. See if you get the same answer each time. Pause while you do this. The first way you should have done it is you should have brought your 5 over and taken your 3/4 and broken it into 3 wholes times 1/4, because that's the same as saying 3/4. 5 times 3/4. I already have that here. The other way you should have done it is this way. I kept my 5. I switched my parentheses, so I was bracketing 5 times 3, which gave me 15, times 1/4. So I have 15/4. I got the same answer all the way along, because 5 times 3/4 is also 15/4. I want you to go ahead and write this, and then I want you to write 3/8 in unit form, which means that you are writing it with a number and word. Go ahead and pause while you do that. All right, here's what yours should look like. Now, what I'm really saying, or I could be saying, is I could be saying it's the same as 6 times 3 over 8, because it's 6 wholes times 3 1/8. So 6 times 3 over 8, which is 18/8. If you don't believe me, if I bracket it this way, 6 times 3 is 18/8. It's the same thing. Now, we're going to go ahead and make this into a mixed number. So how many eighths come out of 18? Well, 8 eighths is 1, 16 eighths is 2, 24 eighths, wait, I can't do that, I only have 18. Never mind. 16 eighths is 2. So it's 2 wholes, and what's left? Oh, 2 eighths. So it equals 2 and 2 eighths. These are just a couple of different ways that you can solve using the associative property. And today you're going to be asked to use a tape diagram or multiplication, a bunch of different things to actually figure something out. So use whatever path works the best for you and try to find a partner to work on the problem set with. Good luck!